Your laptop is old, it's slow as a snail, and it truly seems like the hard drive might fail. You need a machine, one fresh out the box, so you go to Best Buy since there's nobody else. You look around and why the options? Some laptops, some desktops, some touchscreens, some large, some made for pro gamers, and some lightning to charge. You ask for help from the associate. They're friendly and not an ass. They ask for your needs and wants, since nothing matters but that. Just like how people buy computers for different tasks, how someone approaches privacy and security is wildly dependent on their needs, commonly referred to as just a threat model, or just a clear definition of what you're protecting yourself against. Today's video, I promise, will make you see privacy and security in a very new light, so get ready and be sure to watch all the way through because it's quite the ride. This video is sponsored by Cake Wallet, a completely open source and non-custodial wallet for Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Monero for some of the best standards for keeping your crypto safe. Download Cake Wallet from Google Play or the App Store, or they offer the APK directly on their website. Stick around because I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I love about Cake Wallet later in the video and why they're so special. Just like there is always a more expensive computer out there, there's always something more you can do to improve your privacy and security. With the computer, you have to make a compromise on your finances based on what you need. With privacy and security, it's a compromise of time, energy, and convenience. We need to sit down and find a place to draw a line. Second, just like how you can choose between a desktop and laptop, there are countless paths you can take in the privacy world. What email provider? What messenger? What VPN? What password manager? These are all decisions that need to be made based on your threat model. A service could be absolutely perfect for one person and absolutely destructive to another, just depending on what they need it for. Third, establishing a threat model before you start is the equivalent of prepping your RPG character with what they need to complete a mission, maybe like a map. If you don't do the necessary prep, you have a significantly smaller chance of succeeding. Fourth, and the final main point, you get to call your own shots and learn to be independent, moving away from the ridiculous this versus that debates. You get to establish your own needs, wants, and desires and choose exactly how you proceed forward based on your own assessments. It's recommended to get sources and information from several people to help you make your own decision, but the final decision is based on a very personal and calculated threat model that shouldn't be too heavily influenced from any single individual. The ultimate reason why you'll hear 3 people say drastically different things about a service is because they all have an entirely different outlook on threat modeling. The ones who will help you the most are the ones willing to consider the nuance for everyone involved. Alright, so it's really easy to talk about threat models broadly. A lot of people say pick a threat model, but let's actually develop one together. Disclaimer, there is also no single way to develop a threat model. This is just our approach. We'll leave some sources down below on some other approaches other people have taken. First, let's knock out some terminology. Security is your ability to prevent unauthorized access. Privacy is your ability to hide selected data points, and anonymity is the ability to blend into a crowd. These are all their own individual ideas that can sometimes play along, but sometimes are just completely exclusive. If you don't understand this concept, check out our course Go Incognito that dives into this much more thoroughly, or the new Oil has a quick video on it as well. A common example of a security tool would be a strong password. Privacy would be something like a tracker blocker in your browser, and anonymity would be something like the Tor browser. Again, in each of these examples, you'll find every concept impacted to some degree, but generally speaking, most points of advice that you implement affect one or more of these categories in different ways. Now that you understand this, we can move into the actual threat model. A great starting point is people, companies, and governments. For each of these, you have the option of security, privacy, and anonymity. So you have a 3x3 chart. Do you desire security from people? I would say for many people out there, that's an overwhelming yes, but maybe not. This is personal after all. Things that fall into this bucket are home locks, home security, using a password on your phone and other devices, really anything that improves the security from the people around you. On the privacy front, you might start finding less people interested in this category, but that doesn't mean it's any less valid, since again, it's a personal process. Someone may be in a situation in their life where they're absolutely unable to share sensitive information about their work to people around them, and this would be an example of being private with the people around you. Installing blinds in your home is another example. Anonymity is a bit trickier. It's just kind of a hard category here. The best example I could think of is a 1984 style approach where you have to hide your true beliefs to blend with whatever you believe common thought is. Here's how we recommend actually using this chart. First, rate the overall importance from 1 to 3 in each box. For example, if your government isn't a priority risk, you may mark them as 1s or 2s. If you trust your local community, then those might be 1s or 2s. Keep in mind though, the more 2s and 3s you place down, the more work you have cut out for you. Next, a general statement on why that box is important to you and what it impacts. Once you fill out each box, you should write out probably a general, short, one-sentence description of how you define your just overall threat model. Here's a sample I put together for our good friend Kevin. Kevin cares about security on all fronts except the government, as he is generally trusting of the government and doesn't see it as a threat anytime soon. He doesn't care about privacy from people around him, but he does care a great deal about privacy from companies online due to his personal beliefs. After filling out his chart, he writes out his general threat model. I am looking to keep my family secure from the people around me, my information away from as many companies as possible, and maintaining a similar relationship with the government as I currently do. Kevin now knows what he wants. He's ahead of 90% of the people in the privacy community. He has a path forward. He's able to cross-reference any decisions going forward with these laid out goals taking the form of a threat model. He can also, and this is a big point here, he can also make adjustments over time. It's a very important detail. Your threat model is by no means set in stone and it will change over time, but it's very easy to keep track of it if you do the initial upfront work. This whole process shouldn't be rushed and it can take some people up to an hour or more to do it, but it will. I promise every single person watching this video save you hours upon hours of wasted time and energy going forward. You're not gonna waste your time on services you know you're not gonna ever need to touch, and you're not gonna be using things that you know just don't fit what you need right now. If you are in any way a believer of investing your time for your future self, do this chart or whatever equivalent of it to help illustrate your threat model. The final section of this video is going to take you through what it looks like to use your threat model in your daily life. First, it's important to look for blatant differences out of the gate. If you marked security from the people around you as the highest priority on your sheet, but you're dedicating no time, energy, or resources to it, this needs to change. The goal is to try and match what you're currently doing with what you want to be doing. This actually goes both ways as well. You may realize that using Tor for everything in your life isn't actually something that is benefiting what you care most in your threat model. If you're visual, it may help you to make 2 charts, one with your goal configuration and one where you believe you currently stand in each box so you can easily locate drastic differences. Kevin may realize his home security can use many improvements, and he may realize that using Unix via cubes isn't really matching with his goals. He can now recover some of his limited time and energy and apply it to the places that actually truly need it to get to where he wants to get. He checks up on this every month or so and sees if he wants to make any adjustments to his threat model as his life progresses and things change in his life. A common comment we get on YouTube is, privacy isn't possible, or privacy doesn't exist anymore, and this is just blatantly false. Perfect privacy is impossible, but that's not at all what the discussion is about. Privacy is about what you want to share with others. If you're able to match what you want to share with what you are sharing, you're living the privacy dream. So rather than chasing after perfect privacy, which I don't believe is possible, you should be chasing after your dream threat model. A much more realistic, personal, adaptable, and healthy goal that sets you up for success instead of failure. Cake Wallet was actually the first native Monero wallet for iOS, and it's slowly grown from that passion project to what it is today. Non-custodial means you own your crypto with your own private keys, not like most traditional exchanges. Inside of the app, there's a convenient in-app exchange and buy features, it has an amazing interface, and my personal favorite feature is Open Alias, which lets you configure a Monero wallet address via a domain. Go see how this works with the one we set up at our own domain. It's super cool. Overall, this has been nothing short of a great experience, and we highly recommend giving Cake Wallet a shot. All links are below. Now, a last-minute addendum to this video that I just had to say and add last minute. There is absolutely a phenomenon that I call threat model bias, which is any bias someone might have on the subject of threat modeling in the privacy and security world. A very good example of this is someone who believes you shouldn't use a service in any capacity because of one issue with it. By the way, that issue or shortcoming may not even impact other individuals. This turns into a serious problem when authorities, especially ones with large audiences, are giving completely non-nuanced, oversimplified advice while ignoring valid positives that a service could still provide people. Now, let's get this straight. What I'm criticizing here isn't holding companies and services accountable. We all want services to be as good as humanly possible. What I am criticizing is how there is a huge demographic that's being done a disservice with how the arguments are being presented. We're definitely guilty of this too sometimes. I think everyone is to some extent, but it's a big problem when the same select individuals are creating an unfathomable amount of misguided advice due to their bias, which does turn into simply bad advice when you're steering people away from solutions that are likely perfect for their needs, even though they have some problems. I truly believe this is one of, if not the most important video we've ever made. This is just completely underserved. It needs to be talked about more. People need to hold people accountable for not keeping threat models in mind. This is just something that really needs to be discussed throughout the entire privacy community. If this video helped you out, you know what to do. Give this a like, as if that matters anymore, or go ahead and share it with the people around you. We do upload our content to Odyssey and PeerTube. We have support methods on our site, including Monero and Bitcoin. We're also on Patreon, so be sure to give us some support on Patreon if you're looking for perks in our communities, and you are probably right about to show up on the bottom of our videos. Thanks everyone for watching, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time on Techlore. Peace out.